Y- Sorry, I was going to say, welcome, Kaylee Barker and Katrin Finch, and they are teaching today's program on creating pastas and sauces at home. So let me stop sharing my screen and take it away, Haley.
All right. Thanks, guys. Um, Sorry, I just had to change the center thing. So today we're going to talk about um, pastas and sauces, and I just started sharing this booklet. Oh, just kidding. Sorry about that. This booklet with you that our uh, MSU specialist, nutrition specialist, kind of shared it with us. That I thought was a really nice start to talking about pasta and sauces. So I'm just kind of scrolling through a few little things. I'm not going to talk about every detail in here. We're not going to focus so much on breads today, just focusing on pasta and the homemade aspect of pasta. So with pasta, the biggest thing is most of the pasta that you buy at the store is made from durum um, wheat, which is a high protein wheat, which means that it's really elastic and makes it so your noodles are resilient. Uh, so you can kind of see that here where you have your dried semolina pasta. Today we're going to do an fresh egg pasta. I'm going to do I have some already made and I'm going to show you how to make it as well. And one of the nice things that you can do, it's much simpler. I did this twice. I did a sample last night and I just did it in a bowl with a well, kind of made a well for the eggs. And it's a little bit harder that way. So I'm going to use the food processor today to kind of go through that. You also can make eggless pasta. Eggless pasta is better for if you're doing a like a vegetable base, so like a marinara sauce or something like that. It doesn't absorb as much of the flavors, so that's why your egg pasta is actually better for your creamy sauces. I'm going to show two sauces today. Um, the one is just a basic marinara, and the other one I'm going to do with a bechamel, which is just a basic white sauce you can turn into an Alfredo. You could turn it into whatever you wanted to, just a basic cheese. You could do it for fondue, whatever you really wanted to do with that. It's up to you. I'm going to show you just the base of it, and then you can create what you want. I like giving people the option to be creative and just let, because everybody has different tastes, and whatever you like, feel free to add whatever seasonings you like in there. Just experiment with some of those things. It's always the best part and the fun part of it. But this had some really nice different recipes that you could try. A carbonara, a shrimp sauce, a lot of different sauces. I'm not going to demonstrate each one today out of just for our essence of time. The other part with rolling and cutting pasta is I don't have a pasta roller or a cutter today. You can, I don't know if you guys have a KitchenAid mixer, which I don't know if you guys can see mine, but I have one back here. You can buy a roller that goes to your KitchenAid mixer, and they're really nice. It rolls it really flat so that you don't have super thick noodles. But if you don't mind if they're a little bit thicker for whatever you're making, they kind of turn into more of a dumpling sometimes. But um, you can do this all by hand, which I'm going to show you today. You don't have to have a pasta roller, and you don't have to have a cutting machine if you don't want to go buy one and you just want to do it at home. Um, you can always do that. And then these are the different pasta shapes. Um, I'm just going to cut mine today into fettuccine, so just straight um, kind of fettuccine slash spaghetti. It really is up to you of what you want to do. You can try out your hand at different pasta shapes. Go from there. So, and the other thing with your pasta sauces is or not sauces, your just pasta, you do have to let the dough rest a little bit with an egg pasta. So I have made mine and I also let it rest. So I'll roll that out today, but I'll also show you the other part as well. Sorry about that. I had to stop sharing my screen so you guys can kind of see what I have going on. It's a little interesting with some of these, so bear with me a little. You guys all kind of see what's going on over here. If you can't see me at any point, let me know. Or if you can't hear me, hear everything I'm saying. So I'm going to use the food processor today. So I already measured out 2 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, and then I have my eggs already ready here. Add those in. And it should start to kind of come together. So as you put that all together, your dough, it'll kind of look crumbly in the actual food processor. But once you bring it all together, you can kind of see that it does start to come together into an actual dough. So when you see it in there, it might look a little bit crumbly, and that's okay. Just pull it out, and then you can start kneading it with your hands too. So there we have all of our pasta dough ready to go. Now, from here, you're going to want to knead this. And when you knead it, you're going to want to do that for quite a while. At least, I would say about 7 to 10 minutes. Get a good knead going on your dough. It's going to be a little bit tough for a little while, so it might be kind of an arm workout for you. But it'll work out really well if you can work that for a while. In the essence of time, I'm not gonna knead it in front of you right now, but you want to do that with your dough. Once you've kneaded it for about 10 minutes or so, 7 to 10, just let it rest on the counter for, they say about 45 minutes, but you could do less than that, just for a little while. Let your flour relax a little bit, let the gluten relax. So I'm just going to set that aside for right now. And I already have some dough already made. I did let it rest for about 45 minutes. Just to make it a little bit easier. And this one, I know you guys probably can't really see the huge difference in these two, but this one is a lot softer, a little bit easier to work with than our other one that I just did actually is. So once you have that, then it's just working with your dough and rolling it out. And when you roll it out, you want to roll it out as thin as possible. Add a little bit of flour. Try to turn my camera so you guys can see a little bit of this. I'm going to cut it also into smaller pieces so that you can work smaller pieces rather than a great big piece of dough to make the pasta that you want. I'm going to close my computer. computer completely. But basically, you're just going to roll this out into thin pieces. You want them to be as thin as possible. That's where having the actual pasta roller comes in really handy. So if you have one, that's awesome, and I highly recommend it. But I currently don't. When I was teaching high school, I taught family consumer science for a few years, and we had a couple pasta rollers, and they were really fun to use, and the kids really enjoyed them, and the pasta turned out really well. It was really flat. The noodles weren't too thick. I had some that used the pasta roller, and then I had some that decided they were just going to try their hand at doing it from scratch entirely. And it worked out great either way they did it. It was just that the ones that did it by hand, the noodles were a little bit thicker. But other than that, they turned out totally fine. So once you have it rolled out as thin as you can, really, that's the hardest part, is making it as thin as you can and getting it to be really thin, especially when you don't have that pasta roller. A little bit thicker than I would recommend, but kind of in our essence of time, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I'm going to use my pizza cutter to put them. That's in smaller, just pieces. So from there, you can kind of decide how the size that you want your pasta to be. So from there, you have your pasta pieces. And from there, you can do a couple different things. From there, you can do a couple things. You can either cut out all of your pieces, and then you can dry them. You can get a rack. I've used just a clothes hanger and hung it up from kind of anywhere that you want in your kitchen. If you have something that you can hang, and just let them dry. That way you don't have to have anything. They just have to dry for a couple of hours if you want to do it that way. You can also boil them right away and consume them right away, not a problem there. Or you can cut them and freeze them. If you do freeze them, just remember that when you make sure they're laid flat, so that when you do go to cook them later, you don't have a big dough ball that you're trying to cook. So keep that in mind as you make your pasta and as you freeze it or do those kinds of things. So that's kind of what as far as pasta goes. And making the pasta, it's really quick. It's pretty simple. As you can see, I didn't have a lot here. It didn't require a lot of ingredients. It's 3 ingredients. And you don't have to use eggs if you don't want to. You can do it with just flour, salt, and water, or a little oil. It's kind of up to you, the pasta side. Before I move on to, and then obviously then after that, I would boil them in salted water. If you are watching your salt intake, then obviously you don't have to boil in salted water. I just suggest the salted water because it brings out the flavor so much more if you add salt to your water when you're cooking, especially if they're fresh. So before I move to doing a couple different sauces, do you guys have any questions so far on just pasta in general, or if anybody has anything they want to add, anything I missed, or anything like that? I'm welcome to any suggestions or questions. I'm more than happy to answer anything.
So what's your favorite type of pasta and sauce combination?
I like fettuccine. It's a little bit thicker, um, and I like the actual texture. I like that it gives you a little bit more texture. And then I do really like Alfredo sauce. I just can't have a lot of it, but I love it. It tastes so good. I love garlic, so kind of where I'm at with that. So that I'm going to go to back over here. I'm going to do two different sauces as well. Oh, sorry, there was a question in the chat. The egg versus no egg pasta. So doing an egg pasta is better if you're doing a cream-based sauce. If you are doing a vegetable like a marinara sauce, I would suggest doing a no egg pasta. But you can do either. Your egg, the egg pasta is going to absorb more flavor into and absorb more of that. So that's why it's better for the cream-based sauce than it would be for a marinara. But you can do either. That's just a reference.
Haley, have you ever done any like herbed pastas, like or like some with vegetables? I know there's like spinach and garlic type pastas, or like a lemon, I don't know, a lemon thyme type of pasta. Have you ever done that?
I haven't. They're in that reference or that resource that we got. There is always or there is one for, I think it's a spinach pasta, and I haven't. Um, when I did this with my students got a little creative and they added dried herbs into their flour, and so it made it taste just a little bit different. So that was kind of fun, which you could easily add that in there. But as far as making it out of just straight, as far as like a spinach pasta, I haven't made, I will be honest. But you can add some different flavors into your pasta. My students, they just got creative and were like, yeah, we're going to try it. So it turned out it was fun. It turned out good and it looked different, obviously. But so, I mean, I guess that we've done it that way, but haven't done the other ones. No.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to start with the first sauce is a marinara sauce, and it's actually one that I'm sure some of you have already done before or seen the recipe. It's actually one out of our Meals in Minutes booklet. So it's actually the spaghetti sauce that you're seeing. I think you're seeing it on your screen right now. What I love about it is it makes a lot, and it's really good. I've made a lot of different marinara sauces, and usually, I will be honest, when I do a lot of sauces, especially spaghetti or things like that, I don't measure a lot. I kind of just dump and see how it goes, and just kind of taste test my way through until I find what I like. But this one, I really liked everything I've done for everything that's been put together with this one. So I'm actually going to make it in the Instant Pot. It doesn't take very long. The only difference is I'm just doing sauce. I'm not doing the beef. Normally I add green beef to ground beef, not green, ground beef to my sauces, to my spaghetti sauce. But for today, I'm just doing the sauce. So you could do the sauce. Some people like to have maybe a little extra sauce so they don't add as much ground beef. It's totally up to you on that. And that's usually always a preference for yourself. So with this, I kind of have everything put together over here. And it really is a dump and go recipe, which I love. So I'm going to add all of those ingredients that you see on there, minus the ground beef and the garlic. I'm not going to do that because usually you add that to your ground beef as well. Add the paste, the sauce, all those things. I already mixed them all together. I don't have any wine currently right now. So I'm gonna not add that one right now, but you can always do that. What I found is some people that aren't wine drinkers or just don't have it on hand. Another option, and that's as a teacher, I would always have recipes that called for wine, and you can always substitute with vinegar. But one thing that I found with vinegar is that it still takes on that taste, and sometimes will ruin your recipe. So one thing that I found at the grocery store is this cooking wine that you can keep. Obviously, this one's a white cooking wine that you can keep in your fridge. So if you're not a wine drinker or you just don't want it in your house, whatever that might be, this is another option for you. I really like, just like the subtle flavor that it gives rather than the vinegar flavor that you sometimes get. So that's another option. I'm not going to add it in today because I don't have a red version of that, and it does really take on the flavor. So I'm just going to omit the wine portion. But okay, you can kind of see my Instant Pot over here. So just kind of dumping and going with this one. Add in potato sauce. The other thing with this that I love is that it makes a lot, so you have lots full of leftovers, but you also can then freeze it as well, so you have it for later on. Which is exactly what I will do, because we'll have this for dinner tonight, and most likely we'll have it as lunch the next day, and then I can freeze the rest of it. Okay, then 2 cans of diced yolks. I already have all of my everything measured out here. So the recipe, and I'll share the recipe too more. So everything goes in together. And normally you have beef in here too. You would have use the saute function on the pot. And you can do this. You don't have to do it in an instant pot. You can do it on the stove pot too. I'm just using my instant pot for this one today, just because I do really like this recipe. So from there, it's pressure cooked on high for 10 minutes. So we're just gonna turn that to 10 minutes. Make sure that's unsealed. We're gonna let that do its magic. That's what I love about the Instant Pot too, is that I can just turn it loose and let it go, and it puts everything together for me. But like I said, that whole recipe, you could throw all those things into a pot on your and do it on your stove top too. It's just it's just nice to be able to throw it in the Instant Pot and let it go. So that was kind of my marinara. There's another one in the book, the booklet that I showed you guys, that is also really good. But I do love this other one. Okay. We're gonna let that do its thing. And I'm I'm going to do a bechamel or a white sauce. So with the white sauce, I don't really have a recipe for it on. It's not one that was in the booklet. It's one that I've done a lot over a while. So you need 2 tablespoons of butter, and your butter and your flour are a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you're doing 2 tablespoons of butter, you need 2 tablespoons of flour as well. So I already have that measured out in here. And then 1 cup of milk. I'm using heavy cream today. With heavy cream, you have to be careful. It absorbs so much more of the moisture from your flour. So you're most likely going to have to add more heavy cream than just a cup, but always start with a cup. You can do it with milk. You can do this with any type of milk that you want. I've made it with almond milk as well. You can make it however you like. It's just kind of your preference of what you prefer, what you like. So you want to start with getting your. You want to start by melting your butter. Melt your butter in your saucepan. I usually do this on kind of a medium to medium, just to at least get the butter melted. You can always change from there. I just got a new gas stove this year for my husband and I. He did a few new appliances as kind of our Christmas gift together, and I am super excited to have gas back in my house. It's so nice to cook on. It's faster, and the temperature is even. Everything looks a little bit easier. Okay, so once your butter is melted, which mine is, let that cook just a little bit. And then you're going to add your flour in. You're going to create what's called a roux. And it's going to look kind of chunky. That's okay. It's just your flour absorbing your butter. It's going to look real chunky, a little bit chunky. You just don't want to leave it on there for too long or your flour, and then you have kind of you won't like it. So from there, then we're just going to kind of gradually add in a little bit of cream. Work that in. There we go. It down to low right now. Just you're adding that in, and you don't want to heat it up too much, but you do want to bring it to boil. Doesn't need to be pouring or anything. And then it really is up to you. After you get to this point, depending on if you like your sauce a little bit thinner or a little thicker, add in. You can add in more cream. or you can leave it exactly how it is right now. You want to get it to a boil so it does thicken up. But once it thickens, then you can leave it alone. That's your sauce. And from there, this is just the base. Then you can really do whatever you like. If you wanted it to be a tomato sauce, add some garlic in there. You could have added it a while ago, or you could toss some garlic on the side and throw it in. You could then also add in some cheese. If you want cheese sauce, you can add Parmesan or cheese, whatever you really like. You can even add in cheddar. Cheddar has a tendency to then the fat content's a little bit different, so it might look a little bit. If you don't like that, then maybe choose a different cheese, choose something that you like. From here, it's kind of really nicely. See the over, so you kind of see the consistency, pretty thick, and that is truly also. It'll be a little bit thinner if you're just using regular milk, but with this, it's going to be a little bit thicker. So you could add more cream to it. You could add some cheese and then maybe add a little bit of Parmesan cheese and a little Parmesan, a little bit more cream, a little bit of garlic. You can also add some nutmeg. It's also really nice. It's easy up to you, what preferences you like. Like a little bit more cream. Got to get out. Got to get out cheese. Grab some. And it's up to you how much you add in. There's no one right way to do that. It's completely up to you. From there, right now I just have a really low heat. Let that egg melt. That cheese melt. And then from there, I would suggest doing adding some salt in there too. I used unsalted butter. If you didn't, if you had salted butter, I wouldn't maybe add a whole lot of salt to it. You can add some salt, pepper, garlic. It's really up to you. What you like, all of that. So, up to you on what you want. So that, like I said, with the cream, it's going to be a little bit thicker than if you were just using a regular. Milk. So those are my two sauces, as well as my pasta. Do you guys have any questions for me on any of the pasta items or the sauce items or any of the pasta things?
So I have a question for you. So with the noodles, how long after you make the noodles, how long do they stay fresh?
How long do they stay fresh before? So if you're drying them, you want to let them dry for a couple hours, and then you can use those for, oh, I would say you're good for about a month. And I would use them within the month. Um, if you're going to, you can freeze them, and then obviously you can use those right away, or you can use those whenever once they're frozen. But you'd want to use if they're dried and you're kind of just letting them. You want to use those fairly quickly. But if you're freezing them, they're good for a long time. So early.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Are you ready for me to open the polls for getting some feedback? Awesome. Great. Oh, and Betty shares, you made it look so easy. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I am going to go ahead and open up our evaluation portion of the class. And my computer says open poll. It will be open for 5 minutes. So go ahead and start completing that. And while you're completing that, I'm going to show you a couple of our upcoming classes that we have for the rest of May. I don't know if this is your first program or if you've joined us before, but we have a webinar every day. Well, we had one every day in April on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then in May, we went to just Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at noon. So tomorrow's program is Gaining the Upper Hand When Disaster Strikes, Planning for Self-Care. And this model, we usually think about disasters in like a fire or a flood or an earthquake, but in this case, we're also including that COVID that has happened to our lives. Thursday, we have reading food labels, and that's taught by Jasmine Carbajal, and she's our extension agent up in Hill County. Next Tuesday, we have creating salads and dressings at home, taught by Holly Miner. On Wednesday, we have med instead of meds, and this is taught by Alice Burchek, and she's our coworker up in Toole County, and she's talking about the Mediterranean diet. On Thursday is an opportunity to learn about a suicide prevention training, and it's called QPR, Question, Persuade, and Refer. And then in 2 weeks from now, we have Dutch oven cooking starting on Tuesday. The next day is making artesian breads on Wednesday with Tara Andrews. And then on Thursday is making disc fajitas. And that rounds out our month for May. So thank you so much for those who have joined us. Either this is your first time or if you have joined us before. We also really appreciate Haley for sharing this program with us. It's obvious that you've done this before. So all those years of teaching those high school students have really come into play. So thank you for sharing your talents and knowledge with us today. And then those recipes, Haley will share with me, and then I'll share it to our Facebook event. So if you are in need of trying to find that event, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And some of your other comments include thanks for doing that. You made it look so easy. So thank you. And it looks like Jackie just turned on her. Do you want to say something, Jackie? No.
Just thank you, Haley. That was awesome. I didn't
Thanks.
know that about the pastas, the question that Betty asked about the egg-based pasta and the not egg-based pasta. So that was really interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. This was fun. I felt like I was on a cooking show today.
You were.